One common issue we hear from all 250, 300 plus customers we have, and that's that their data cannot be trusted. Their project-related application data. They know that everybody's putting data in different ways, not necessarily following maybe some of the data input rules that the companies have put together, but they're utilizing the applications in various ways. They're putting data in various ways, which means that inherently the data is untrustworthy. So they run reports knowing the data is not trustworthy, and then they don't trust the reports, right? Now, maybe portions of it are trustworthy, but certainly not all of it. And this is not something I've heard from a customer, which is, yes, we got it. Our data's perfect. Our reports are perfect. They come out instantly, and they allow me to make real-time adjustments to capital projects. Not a single one has told us that. Everybody is still wrestling with data transformation. So most of our customers have moved everything to the cloud in one form or another. Most of our customers have some sort of data lake, data pond, data warehouse where they can process that data, but they haven't quite figured out how to automatically clean that data, point out where the data is incorrect, for potential remediation. That is a huge issue in the industry. We've developed insights 5 or 6 years ago now, and we apply that on top of the applications that are hosted, in this case, in the LoadSpring cloud platform. Doesn't necessarily have to be just in our platform, where we extract down the data from all the apps, but only the data that's required for the reporting. So you don't have to bring down the entire P6 database. Bring down just the tables and just the fields that are required to answer the vast majority of your questions, which is just a fraction of that data. That then comes into a data pond, and in the data pond, you can start cleaning it using machine learning, using traditional programming techniques, and using AI to start to align the data, make sure it's clean, transformed, and unified, and most important, accurate. Now, along the way, what you're going to see is you're going to want to start to exclude certain projects, because you know that, number one, it's a test project. So maybe you want to exclude any project that has test in the title. If you're in pharmaceuticals, maybe not so much, because you're always building test facilities, so you're going to want to include those, right? But every company has data cleanliness rules. You need to apply them. What we've found is that only about 37% of the data in these project management apps across all of our customers is actually usable for accurate reporting. About 37%. The rest of it is either thrown out, ignored, or just put to the side for now, and hopefully it'll be remediated at some point. Now, we're rapidly moving in the direction, as I mentioned earlier, of AI being prepared to remediate upon the green light from a human, right? That's probably the next step within the next 6 months. That'll be pretty normal, I think, across the industry, or at least those in the industry who are out ahead on this. So there's going to be a remediation process, which will then take you from 37% to maybe 90% clean, in which case you can then get your accurate reporting. But you do need a repository. Our philosophy is that you should extract data from your native applications. You should put it in a data pond, lake, or warehouse, so you can then utilize that to manipulate and put your analytics programs, your business intelligence programs, or your AI on top of that data. That's the path that we've chosen for a number of our clients who need accurate reporting now that's trustworthy. We do not only suggest and consult with them to clean the data, we actually clean the data for them, and then they have access to it. So that's a step that I think that's missed with many, many customers out there. They just have their data hosted, and they live with dirty data, and they live with faulty reports. They don't have to do that anymore.
That's also where our partnership comes in, is that CBA helps support the data cleaning, data lake, data maintenance, data ponds structure, so that LoadSpring can apply insights and the AI functionality to that information.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. The reason why CBA and LoadSpring work so well together is LoadSpring's a tech company. Once we understand the parameters of what has to be done in an outcome-based scenario, right, we can build the technology solution. But where CBA comes in is that consultative first part of the equation, where you actually have to understand what are your goals from a business standpoint, what are the questions that need to be answered, what type of analytics are required to answer that question, what type of data is available to perform the analytics, and then lastly, where is that data located? That process cannot be ignored before you actually start building your technology solution. In fact, it has to come first. Because if you don't tackle those questions and do that work up front, your technology solution is not going to give you the answers that you need to solve that business problem. And as you know, Holly, we always counsel our customers to start small, right? Little hits. Don't swing at the ball too hard. Don't try and swing for the fences. You'll strike out a lot. You really need to come up with one or two business issues you want to solve. And let's run through the process and see what AI can do for you. Let's see what data cleansing can do for you. And then once you actually have that process, it's wash, rinse, and repeat, right? Then you can start tackling other problems. But don't try and boil the ocean. You will never get there. And guaranteed your funding or the project for your AI project will be pulled before it actually completes anything.
Right. I think that's so important to point out is being strategic about the objectives that you want to achieve, because just like Rome wasn't built in a day and you can't eat a whole elephant at once, that is what AI is. You have to figure out where's the first brick or where's the first bite.
Yeah, it's amazing. So many people want to just jump to the end, to the sexy part. Set me up an LLM that does natural query language processing and just throw it on top of my data. I want to ask all sorts of questions, but they don't really understand where they want to go with it. We were talking to a customer this past Tuesday, and it was just brilliant of them. They didn't jump right in to do AI. They said, you know what, we're going to need 2 weeks. We're going to go back, and I'm going to quiz the team, and I'm going to ask them, what do you want to get out of this project? What is the end result? Not just throwing an AI agent on top of their data and seeing what happens next. They literally going to take 2 weeks, go through the team, and they're going to come out with their top 10 outcomes. And then that's what the project's going to be focused on. It was absolutely brilliant. And we didn't have to prompt them on that. That's just the way that they do business. Very, very smart. Their project will end up on time. They'll get the results they want in a very, very short time.
I think that's the competitive edge with applying AI.
Yeah.
The companies that are going to apply AI in that manner are going to have the competitive edge, and they're going to start outracing their competitors that aren't doing that.
Yeah, I think 1, don't be afraid of it. 2, bite-sized chunks, right, to start out with. 3, know what your end objectives are so that you can actually build towards something as opposed to some nebulous end that you're not quite sure where you're going. And lastly, you just got to start doing it now, because
Yes.
if you wait for 6 months, your competitors are going to surpass you because they're all doing it now. I can tell you, everybody I've talked to in the industry has a budget for AI exploration primarily, but they have a budget. Someone on the team is assigned to figure it out, and the ones who figure it out aren't going to just jump for the first shiny object they see that some salesperson is selling, right? They're going to do their investigation. They're going to figure out the product that works specifically for them. And they have to request demos. They have to ask the hard questions of all of these vendors. They have to do a lot of what if. Put the software through its paces. Put the person who's designed the system through its paces. Make sure they understand the industry.
I think that's a really good point with the questions that you just brought up. Is there are so many AI pieces out there that are like add-ons or bolt-ons to very specific softwares that companies may already own. Oh, you already have P6. There's this AI thing that only works with P6.
Right.
And, it's cheap and just add it on, and then now you have AI. And I think that while those may be AI, the power in AI is what LoadSpring is coming to the market with LC and Insights. It doesn't matter what software you have. It doesn't matter what systems you're using. You can put this onto any piece and parts of data that's pulled from any kind of database and really start to use all of your data.
Yeah, I think you're right. I mean, as a company, we are application agnostic, right? We support over 250 of the world's most utilized project control applications. So we don't care what or consult on which particular application to use. And many of these companies are developing really good AI front ends and back ends to their software because they have to do that to compete. But you hit upon one point. Company A, software company A, software company B, and software company C will never allow their models or their data to be commingled amongst those companies. So a lot of people in the AEC space and the project control space are moving towards building separate cloud data warehouses, right? They're using, whether it's AWS or GCP or Azure or Snowflake or even LoadSpring, right? They're using third-party companies to pull all of this data into one centralized location so you can actually use the same AI agent across all of that data. As opposed to now you have 7 different applications, 7 different AI functionality, you're not going to get the same information out of all of them. It actually has to be combined. So there are advantages if you need quick information only about that specific app. Software developers in the software companies are doing a great job with AI. But if you need answers across your entire portfolio, across all the applications, then you're going to need some sort of cloud solution or a hybrid cloud solution to be able to interrogate the data properly.
So I think that's a great point where we were just talking about taking it a step at a time, starting small. If your end goal is to be able to look at all of your data and query it and use it and be able to build a central picture and how to use it, that's a really big step. Like, that's a really big end goal. Taking the pieces and just getting started with the steps is where contacting LoadSpring, contacting CBA is a great place to start having those conversations and start putting those plans in place to how do I get to that end goal that's really big, that's an enterprise end goal. How do I start with the small steps? Where's the best project to start with? What's the best application to start with, right?
Yeah, I would agree. I think, look, there are a lot of very competent AI consultants out there, BI consultants out there. The one thing that people have to keep in mind is you need to find someone who's done this before and has a proven track record, someone who's doing it now and innovating, and someone who knows your industry. Because you can have the best AI scientist, data scientist, AI consultant in the world, but if they don't understand project controls, project management, capital projects, you're not going to get there as fast. Right? Yeah, find the right vendor, find the right software, start small, but think big picture. Don't just think about a single app. If you've got schedule, cost, and risk, and an internal accounting system, whatever you need and contains data about your portfolio, think about long term, because if you start building a solution around one application, it's a much heavier lift to then point to another application and start over and another application. So think big picture, but start small. Start with one goal or maybe 2 goals in mind, and that's it.